Hello and welcome back to Bad Moms in Business, the podcast. I am Bridgette Robertson.
I'm Amanda Sharp.
I'm Danielle Monaghan.
And today we have a very special guest that, if we're being honest, I don't think any one of us thought we would ever be able to get on our podcast.
No, not at all.
No.
I'm super excited.
We are so excited to have you here, Cherie. We love your products. We love your company and everything it stands for. She is the CEO and co-founder of SAALT, which is an amazing product. So the floor is yours to talk about you, and then we'll dive into some wonderful questions we have, but it's all you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I just love watching your videos. I love everything that you're about. And of course, this is a cause that I would support. So happy that our products have worked well for you. And I'm excited to share a little bit about our story and also our company here with your viewers. So SAALT, we aim to modernize reusable period care. Basically, we're trying to make reusable products cool for the mainstream consumer. And we're also female founded and women owned. And we're a B Corp, which means we take a triple bottom line approach to everything we do. We want our products to be clean, sustainably sourced, ethically made, and we want them to really work well for people. And along with that, we have a give back mission. So we give 2% of our revenues back to donate period care to girls and women in need all across the world. And then we also fund initiatives in education, girls' education specifically, and sustainability. So that's a little bit about us. And just, a little intro to me. So I have 5 daughters, which means that, whether I'm at home or whether I'm in the office, it is TMI all day, every day. Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions about periods, I have heard them all. So I dive deep. It's just what we do. And we get period questions all the time. So feel free to ask any questions you have. And I just love having these conversations.
And I have to say, at first, the conversation was a little awkward.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I know Danielle and I, we said, should we mention it? Should we not mention it? And then how it just felt so amazing and empowering once you said it, and it was no longer taboo.
Nope, it was out there.
It was out there
for the world to hear.
And so this conversation with you is just not taboo. It's just coming so naturally, and I can't wait to just dive into everything and talk about something that every woman basically is putting up with.
Right? Okay, so I'm going to kick us off. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add, us as menstruators, we're the ones who people take their cues from. So if we're awkward talking about periods,
yes,
then that's what people are going to see. They're going to be awkward too. If we're straightforward because it's something that 50% of the population deals with, then it allows them to also speak candidly about it. So I really think that the way to have these open conversations and to break these stigmas that are going to represent progress for the world is our comfort level. It's for us to say, you know what, it's okay to talk about. So kudos to you.
Thanks. Ooh. I love the way that you phrased that. That was so cool.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Danielle.
All right. So let's jump right in. The first question that we have is, how did you come up with the name SAALT?
So a lot of people ask us, is it an acronym? Does it mean something? It doesn't. We just wanted a short word that we could use that would represent something that was natural and simple and essential for our bodies. And really this return to the natural, something that invoked this, natural landscape and the natural world. And so we did add an extra A so that it could be copyrighted. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to say. So
I love that.
That makes perfect sense. So I am so excited for this next topic. You mentioned it in your intro, but period poverty. I'm so glad that this is a topic that you guys are addressing. So can you explain a little bit about what period poverty is and then what your company is doing to combat that?
Yeah, I would love to. It's a really important topic that I think that there should be more awareness around. So there's 300 million girls around the world, women and girls around the world that live in period poverty. And that's when people don't have safe and hygienic options for period care. So oftentimes girls will use bits of mattress pads or banana leaves or even dirt and mud to care for their periods. Sometimes they'll be, paper from school books. And, what I didn't realize before starting this company, and what is really something that drives me every day, is just how closely tied girls' education and menstruation is. I don't think it's something that we often think about. But as soon as a girl starts her period overseas, then you start to see school dropout rates just start to skyrocket. So for instance, in Nepal, only 41% of girls go to school. They miss school during their periods. And then in places like India, only 1 in 100 girls reaches the 12th grade. And you see the enrollment numbers during primary school be, what you would expect. And then as soon as secondary school hits, suddenly everything just starts to drop. And why? What happened? Periods happened. That's the issue. So at SALT, we were really fueled by this idea that something as simple as a menstrual cup, this, little device could break the cycle of poverty for generations. It could keep girls in school. It could provide opportunity. And we just realized that if you are able to solve this one problem, you're solving all sorts of problems economically and for opportunity for women. So it's really what drives us, is to make sure and solve this issue of menstruation for girls and women around the world.
And I would be lying if I didn't say one of the reasons I became so open-minded about it or researched it a little bit more was because of this pandemic. We touched on it during that episode a little bit, but for the first time in my life, when the shelves were bare of so many things, the thought of not being able to get any feminine hygiene products terrified me. So I thought, well, now is the time to do it. So that to have something sustainable like that impacted me this year just because it gave me the peace of mind. So to know that you're handing somebody something that will allow them to continue to live a normal life is so powerful.
That's huge.
Huge. So huge.
It's a long-term solution, right? Because it lasts 10 years. And so for women and girls who, live on such, below the poverty level on such a minimal amount each day, to be able to have a product like this that is literally going to take care of their periods. And we have had our cups actually stress tested, and they can last a lot longer than 10 years, up to 40 years,
Interesting.
which is the average reproductive lifespan of the average women and girls. So as long as they don't lose their cup or their dog eats it or whatever, then it literally can be the only thing they need for their periods. That's huge.
It is so huge. So huge. So let me ask you, how did the company come to start? I am fascinated with how businesses start because so many start in garages and the story is so neat sometimes. So what was your story?
Yeah, so it's interesting you mentioned the pandemic because I feel like it was a similar situation that sparked the idea for SALT. So I had a call with my aunt in Venezuela. And if you know about the situation in Venezuela, it's really dire. They haven't had food and just basic hygiene supplies on grocery shelves for years. And this was, when I called her, this was 7 years ago. It's still the case. It's actually even worse now. And so what we experienced a little bit during the pandemic, all of us have experienced now how fast those grocery shelves can clear. This is something they live with every day. Wow. And so as I talked with her, I really started looking at our dependence on disposables, and it kept me up at night. I thought, what would we do if we didn't have all of these disposable items that were at our fingertips in our grocery stores? What would we do? And I thought of my 5 daughters, and I started looking into reusable options. What else is out there? I was looking into reusables, not only for periods, but also for like other hygiene needs, like toilet paper. What would you do? Yeah. Very interesting things. I was actually putting together these 72-hour kits. I'm kind of a prepper. I like to be really self-sufficient. And so I was started putting together these kits for my friends across all of the US and getting these different supplies. And I was introduced to the menstrual cup for the first time and said, what is this? And how does it work? And, that's kind of big. Will it even fit? Like all the same questions everybody has, right? So I got several to try out. And I loved it. And I thought, where has this been all my life? You mean it lasts 10 years? It's non-toxic. It's more comfortable. You feel, it's a cleaner period. It can hold 2 to 3 times the amount of a tampon. Like, why don't more people know about this? In fact, the cup was invented in the 1930s by an actress. Wow. I don't know if you knew, because we see it as something new, but it's been around a long time. But you have these massive conglomerates in the disposable category that, disposables make more money than something that's reusable for 10 years. So I think that it was time for it to make a nice comeback, and, happy that we did. So when I bought all these different menstrual cups, I realized that there wasn't one that really worked well for my anatomy. And so I started, mulling over the idea of creating a cup, and I roped my husband into helping me create this 3D CAD model of what I hoped would be an ideal cup that was going to be US made, really high quality silicone. There was also a lot of cups out there made out of silicone that had cheap fillers in them. And I wanted something that was something I could recommend to my friends, something I could put in these kits and say, hey, you should start using this. And so we started creating this model, and it took like 14 different design iterations. I remember when we decided to pull the trigger on our design, and you have to have a mold, actually 2 molds for a small and a regular size. They cost $25,000 of an investment just to create this mold. And we had to be confident enough in our design because it was literally etched in steel, because you have this liquid silicone that goes into the mold like a clamshell. And so that's why it took 14 iterations to make sure we're confident enough to say this is going to work. You know, we think this is well designed. But yeah, that's how we started.
Wow.
Such a neat story.
That's so interesting. That's so crazy.
And I'm shocked at the fact that these have been around for so long. You said that my jaw dropped.
My eyes about bugged out of my head. I can't believe it.
And Amanda wrote it down.
Our 3 personalities right there.
Well, the first one was made out of rubber. So the medical grade silicone has come a long way. So the designs that we have now are very different than what was there. But I think that's amazing that it was like created by this actress that was trying to find a better solution, but just never took off. So,
And I just never knew it existed up until recently. Had never heard of them.
I had heard about it working at the airport. Actually, a woman there had one and would talk about it. But this was 15 years ago. And I thought, you're insane. I'm not doing that. But it's come such a long way.
It has.
And I think just the conversations that we're more comfortable having as women about these products has helped it come that far. Because 15 years ago, I was really young.
And you hit the nail on the head, because it is that stigma that has caused a lack of innovation for literally centuries in this category. I like to tease that if men had periods, we would have had these options a long time ago.
Oh my God.
Because it is those stigmas. You know, why wasn't the cup well known? Well, if no one's talking about periods, then, you know, why would that word be passed along, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Oh, Danielle, what's next?
So is that really what makes your company different from other companies that have menstrual cups, is like the quality and the design and all of that? What else makes you guys so different?
Yeah, that's a great question. So quality for sure. We wanted a cup that was US made, that also had US sourced silicone, that was also FDA compliant. And, you know, at least when I started, there weren't a lot of cups there were very few in that category. There was a lot of cups overseas that, like I said, contain those fillers. So we wanted to make something that we could really stand behind. So high quality is an important one to us. I would also say just in our messaging and presentation. So when we were entering this category, we realized it was a category that was just littered with taboos and stigmas. And, you know, I looked at that and said, well, how can we change that? It was really our biggest challenge, but also our biggest opportunity. Anytime you have a stigmatized market, that represents an opportunity. And as an entrepreneur, you can look at it in both ways, right? And so we saw this challenge to be able to tell the story differently, to take something that was stigmatized and looked at as gross and something that should be, you know, shameful, and say, no, periods perpetuate the human race, you know, that, you know, deserves some kudos, not shame, right? And show it in a different divine light. Like it's a natural cycle that affects 50% of the population. We can show it in a more elevated light. And also the period cup, you know, something that's reusable. Oh, that's gross. You may not have to touch blood. Like, it's actually cleaner. It's more sustainable. It's better for your body and the environment. So let's shift that messaging. And, you know, I came from a technical writing background. And in technical writing, you take these like complex processes and you try to piece them into little messages that are consumable for the mainstream consumer. And I said, this is just an education issue. We just need to educate people as to why this is a better option and show it. And so we also did that in our packaging. We try to take those stigmas head on and create, you know, this beautiful high-end package that opened like a high-end lipstick and showcase the cup on a pedestal for what it really is. This is our team cup. I love this one. I have a 13-year-old daughter. She helped us develop this cup, which is great. But we really felt like in our packaging, our imagery, our voice, and in our customer service, we could elevate this product to be on the same shelves as clean personal care products and clean beauty. And we really feel like we've been able to achieve that.
And I will have to, talking about the packaging, it was really fun to open the package.
It was.
So your marketing on that was on point because it's like you're opening a present
It's
for your
even
period.
It's like the colors and everything. They're just
Yeah.
like, they're fun, they're pleasing. It's just like, it's very nicely done. I dig the whole color thing.
The marketing
I'm
is.
just going to say it again. I still don't have one because this market. But I'm telling you, June, I might
Get
just
ready
say,
for it.
I might just say, leave it out. I need the cup. I don't know.
You don't have an IUD, is what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's really common. You know, people can still use our cup with an IUD in, because sometimes there's some leaking or spotting. And for other people that don't have that, then they don't need it. But the one caution I would give is just to make sure that you remove it. Make sure that you break the seal before you remove it, because it can dislodge the IUD. So since that's the case for a lot of people, I just want to make sure that you know, totally can use it. It's comfortable. You shouldn't be able to feel it, but don't dislodge it. Make sure that you break the suction. Don't pull too hard.
Oh, that's such a helpful hint. And it's funny because while I don't have the cup, I do have the underwear. And I did use that recently on a day that I was spotting, even with an IUD. And let me tell you, it was so comfortable. You did, like, the fact that you don't have to wear a pad and walk around with what feels like a brick, you know, all day long, especially for someone like me who has a really heavy period. You know, I have to wear like 3 tampons and 4 pads my day.
All at the same time.
Good to know what you're saying, though, Bridget. A real woman gets it.
Yeah.
And I have to say about the Saltware is we discussed this a little bit in the episode, where the confidence you felt while wearing it with a menstrual cup, I felt unstoppable. And especially the biggest thing was that stand up after sleeping.
Nighttime, right there.
The stand up after, like, I stood up like a boss because I knew it was going to be okay. I knew it was going to be okay. And it was amazing. The empowerment that your products create for women is just, it takes the guesswork and the worry out of periods.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had that in my almost 40 years until this year. So thank you for that.
Yes. And so we've talked a lot about the cup, but the Saltware is also something that is available on your website. And I think you had a pair there. If you don't mind holding those
I know.
up, you might be watching. And kind of talk about that a little bit. We've given the cup a lot of love, but this deserves a little bit of the spotlight too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would love to. So we just launched our Saltware in November of last year. Super excited about this product because we are all about only creating products that are both healthy for body and planet, so reusable, sustainable options. So we knew that period underwear was, you know, the next product that would be coming out, because the underwear plus a cup, like you said, pairing is really the best for a fully sustainable period.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us actually 3.5 years to perfect, because the technology, especially for apparel, is just a lot different, and to get the gusset technology right and to stay true to having that really high quality product that worked for people. I mean, anyone can sew a towel into underwear and be like, oh yeah, this is period underwear. But to have it be, you know, ultra thin, super absorbent, and then keep you dry, that takes some innovation. So that was really our goal. So I had wear tested a lot of different period underwear out there, and felt like, you know, they do a decent job, you know, absorbing. And I'm a cup user, but I would free bleed and I would wear a test. And I said, but I just never felt dry. And it felt so bulky, especially for cup users who really want something ultra thin, more as a liner. So we wanted to provide that for our audience and also for those that are free bleeding. So we took that challenge and we actually hired a consultant out of NC State who worked in forensics. And he was so funny to talk to. He's like, he would consult for the FBI, right? Like on murder scenes. He's like, if you ever want to murder someone, you got to wear black because it hides blood stains. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll take that advice. What we took from it is, okay, our gusset has to be black, right? But it was really great. It was a lot of R&D. And what we were able to create was this amazing gusset. It has 3 layers and it's really quite innovative, and it's patent pending. It's super ultra thin. I mean, you can see, and this is our higher absorbency. So not bulky for the cup user. We also have a lighter one. We have a thong that I love. Let's see if I can grab it. And this one's even thinner, and this one's perfect for the cup user. It's wonderful. Or for spotting, or for anything, bladder leaks, discharge. So our gusset technology, and if you have it, you probably can't see it on my video, but it has these unique long channels. And this first layer, this top layer, what it is moisture separating and moisture wicking. So it allows the liquid to pass through quickly into these long channels, and then it wicks it across the entire length of the gusset instead of concentrating on one spot. And then it goes into the second layer. That's an absorbent layer. And it's really a just magical layer. It holds 3 times its weight in liquid. So it can hold so much liquid in this thin layer. And then we have a third layer that's a leak-proof barrier, and it acts like a high-tech rain jacket that, lets water vapor go out. It's breathable, but yet it's not going to leak through. And, to create that gusset, the final product is that it feels like regular underwear. It doesn't feel like period underwear, right? Mm-hmm. And it takes some time to do, but we feel like it has worked for people. We've had rave reviews. I love hearing your reviews because it's exactly what we wanted. We like to create products for ourselves, and I'm the biggest wear tester. So I'm like, it's got to work for me. It's got to work for my 13-year-old daughter, who, as she was learning the cup, would leak. And so she wears our mesh hipster, this one right here that has some nice full coverage. Yeah. She loves it, and she feels so confident. Like, how wonderful is that? I didn't feel that in high school. Did you guys feel that?
No.
Gosh, I walked around with sweater around my waist.
Seriously. So this is going back a little bit, but when I had first started my period, those pants with like the skirts over them was really popular. You guys remember that? And I had a couple of those, and I would reserve them specifically for when I would, start my period, because I was so paranoid. To have something like that as a young girl would have been a game changer.
Yeah, there was nothing worse than basketball days where we had to dress up for away games, and I was walking around in khakis all day on my period. I'm like, this is an accident waiting to happen.
Yep. And the stress that causes, and that's where it really has taken the stress out of periods, being able to have the proper period wear, the proper period products. And I go back to, we are all boy moms. So I love when you say you're a mama for girls, because this is something that we're not necessarily going to have to deal with anytime soon necessarily. But I just go back to, if I had a daughter that was going at that age that you knew it was coming, that they could actually have that underwear that they could just wear daily, that they would never be caught off guard. They would always be prepared. And I just think if I would have had that, oh, how amazing that would have been as a 13-year-old.
Well, and I like too that you mentioned bladder leaks, because as a mom of 2 children, my bladder has been through it. So, when you have a cold and you sneeze, and, it happens. I'm going to be honest. It happens. So I love the thought that, like, I know I have a cold. I know I'm going to be coughing all day. I know chances are I'm going to pee my pants at some point during this day. I can put on my period underwear. Look at me.
Yep. You got it.
I love that you're bringing that up, because I think incontinence has more stigma than period care. And I do feel like I'm a mom of 5. And so, I jump on the trampoline and I have to do my Kegels. Like, we all know what that feels like, or you're doing a burpee, right? Yeah. And as you think about it, as women and girls, we live with wetness all of our lives. I mean, our vaginas are self-cleaning. We have discharge. Later on, it could be incontinence. You have postpartum. I mean, it just is. And that's 24 days out of your 28-day cycle, the average cycle, you're living with wetness. Is it any wonder that our underwear that we see as the standard is like this thin piece of cotton that actually absorbs liquid and isn't quick drying? Like, that's the standard underwear. Like, why don't we have something more like the Saltware for all of our underwear? Right?
That's funny that you mentioned that, because I've been talking about this interview for so long now. My husband's probably so over it. But I told him last night, I was like, honey, tomorrow's the interview. And he's like, are you going to get yourself some more pairs? And I was like, I think I'm going to get a pair for every single day of the month. And he laughed at me. And he's like, well, what for? And I said, because you know what? You don't always know. You do, like you just nailed it. You walk around with a female anatomy, and it's self-cleaning, like you said. There's always moisture, and it just in the sneeze, the sneeze. And I said, if I can't cross my legs fast enough, Marcus, There's sometimes an issue, and I don't want there to be an issue. So I agree with you. I've actually literally considered buying enough pairs to get me through the entire month as just my normal underwear because they are so comfortable. They were by far my most favorite pair of underwear.
I agree with that
They're
statement.
that comfortable.
Yeah.
And we all three of us got a different style, which I think is really cool too, is that you have so many different like varieties because not everybody likes the same style of underwear.
Well, that and you have a wide range of sizes. And so my question would be, do you ever plan on expanding those sizes to people who are, I think right now it's like goes up to a double XL. But we know that there's so many plus size women who are outside of that range. And I know that sizing takes time and that, you know, it's extra resources and those things. But is that something that's on your list of things to do?
Yeah, definitely. We want to be size inclusive. We want to be skin tone inclusive. Our underwear comes in different skin tone colors as well. We have a third one that's not here. But yeah, it's exactly what you said. We want to make sure and provide solutions to all women, which means that you are looking at expanding those ranges. You're looking at different styles and absorbencies and different phases of life. And then, you know, we also really feel like people should feel beautiful on their period.
Yes.
And that's why we created our underwear the way we did. There's a lot of everyday styles out there. This is our high waist. It's just so beautiful. We hired a lingerie designer out of Paris to create our underwear.
That makes sense.
She did a fantastic job. This really nice lace is European Turkish lace. It's just soft stretch. We want it to feel like regular underwear, but also feel like something you would want to wear. So
like it's feel sexy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is period underwear, but it's like the sexiest pair of underwear.
Same.
Love it.
Yeah, that
So
black.
crazy.
I got the high-waisted black and that lace, the mesh panel. I was like, hey.
It's true.
Well, because I think so many people, when they're not familiar with the product, they think of depends. Their mind's immediately going to like the underwear you
100%.
wear after you give birth. And they're thinking that that's what it's going to be. And you're like, no. You feel sexy with these things on.
Yes.
You know, so that makes sense that a lingerie, expert essentially is the one who helped design them because it shows that. It shows that. I have a question if you don't mind me going off the cuff. Go ahead. Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, along with beautiful, the one thing too is that they're really sustainably made, ethically made with a renowned factory out of Sri Lanka that provides scholarships for their seamstresses and clean water for the community. So that was really important to us as a B Corp, is to make sure that we instilled the same quality in our whole supply chain. And then our body fabric and also our absorbent fabrics are made out of post-consumer recycled water bottles. So for our first underwear order, we were able to clean up 300,000 water bottles out of the environment. So it's just amazing. I don't think that people, would know that it's recycled poly because it's so luxuriously soft, but it really provides a really great material. So anyway, just a little tidbit. Yeah.
Amazing material. I just wanted to ask, you had brought up your teen cup. Mm-hmm. And we had talked about this, and I think this is something that we would love to know the answer of, because as somebody who is early into periods, a younger, more immature person, how is that work with them getting comfortable with a menstrual cup? Because I think a lot of our listeners would be curious, because obviously you have to get comfortable. Danielle and I talked about menstrual cup, how comfortable you get with your body and your anatomy. Like I had no idea. And that was almost at 40. So to get, into the mind of a 13-year-old, to be open to it, to try it out and be comfortable and make it work for her. How is that working out for the younger ages? I'm so fascinated by this.
It's really a range on how comfortable people are with their bodies. We'll have, girls, especially those that are athletic, will just say, oh yeah, I put in the period cup for the first time. I love it. I already use the size regular. And this could be 14-year-olds or it could be 18-year-olds. Then I think about the experience of my own daughter. And it was so funny because here her mom owns a menstrual cup company. And she's like, just so you know, I'm going to start with tampons. I'm going to try that first. I'm a little worried about the cup. And I was like, you are my daughter. Of course you're going to try the cup, right? But I didn't. I held back and said, okay, this is an intimate part of the body. You need to respect that. And and make sure that they're comfortable. So I would educate her and I showed her how to use it. And I was pleasantly surprised to know that she did do it on her own, but she had to do it on her own. And I felt like there was a big win when she came to me and she said, Mom, I tried the cup and it's so much better than the tampons. Like, I really wonder why more people don't use this. And I'm like, go girl. And so you really have different levels of comfort, but I do think that the teen cup provides a really great entry point. It is so much smaller. If you look at the difference, this is our small cup and then we have a regular size cup, but it's a lot less scary to start with this. It's nice and soft. And I was surprised to know that, my daughter, like I said, 13-year-old is, starting her period for the first time. She's already moved up to the regular. And that happened in like 2 months time frame because she was comfortable with it. She's like, oh, this doesn't hold as much as a regular and I have a heavier flow, so I can do that. It was just that fear. It was just getting through that barrier. We like to say that it just takes one moment of bravery, try it in the shower. You can do this.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The shower, I think, is a great suggestion. It's a perfect time to experiment with it.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And that water acts as a natural lubricant. So it's really pretty risk-free zone.
Risk-free zone. I love that. Well, who's up for another question? Because I could go all day. This is so fantastic.
Let's do it.
I'll just go off on a quick side tangent. So I actually started out with a different cup. Yes. It was again over when we first had quarantine. Actually, this time last year was very, very close to this time last year. And I was like, I'm just going to take this time when I have to be at home anyways. And I fell in love with the idea of the cup, did not fall in love with the cup. And it was having a conversation with Amanda that she's like, nope, it's this one. You got to try this one. And I haven't looked back since. Have not looked back since.
And it's true. They're not just saying that because I was within the group message where they were discussing it, just kind of watching like these poor losers with periods. And now here I am like
out and about it.
It's true.
They're not just,
it really is.
They're not just saying that. It's true. I watched them fall in love with this product. So it's been pretty cool to see. I guess my question would be, so you started this at home with your husband working through the model. Where are you now? How many people do you have employed? Are you mostly female? I mean, I know you're female run, but do you have men that work in the company? For some reason that I just have to know the answer to that.
No men, not allowed. No, just kidding. No, so we are, like I said, women founded and majority run. So we have 46 employees, and of those 46, it's 85% female. We have the best men that support our company. I just can't even say enough about how empowering they are and how wonderful it is to have men in the conversation, because I feel like if we don't have men in the conversation, then we're not going to have that progress that we need for women and girls. And it's just really endearing to me to be able to see someone like my husband, who is just, I mean, he's a father of 5 daughters. He wants to create this world like I do, where those daughters don't have barriers that come with menstruation, don't have barriers to education. And he came with me to Nepal, and so did my oldest 3 daughters when we went to go visit a charity partner. And we're teaching this mothers group all about period cups. And we also got to see some of the scholarship recipients in their school that we had funded scholarships for. And it was just so empowering. And if we weren't converts then, that seeing that firsthand really does something to you. It really sparks that drive even more. And it was so fun to see my daughters go and teach these women about the cup. So they would feel those same barriers that everybody else did, like, oh my gosh, it's big. What are these Americans trying to put on us? Yeah. What is this? And I sent my 8-year-old daughter and say, hey, can you go teach them how to do these folds? And she's up there like origami, showing them how to fold the cup, showing them the C fold and the punch down fold. And wow, those barriers just came melting down. And they said, okay, this is something we think we can do. And now being able to hear, and as we've gone back, being able to hear their feedback and how it's changing lives of these women in Nepal and Kenya and Uganda and Venezuela. We're in 34 countries. We've donated 20,000 cups around the world. Wow. And we just hear these stories over and over again. that it's life-changing for people. It's the same thing we hear from our customers, and it just drives our internal team like nothing else. We have a whole Slack channel dedicated to just hearing these great reviews, because it really is the core of what we do. It is changing those lives every day, because it's something we deal with monthly. It actually is very life-changing to have this problem solved, and it does.
Oh, she froze a little bit during a very solid sentence. There, you froze just ever so slightly.
I'm sorry. I know I've seen a little bit of the internet connection go in and out, so I apologize. But
No.
I'll finish that sentence. I feel like what we're really providing for people is confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
So true. What a beautiful story. How incredible.
So incredible. And as I'm sitting here, I'm getting notifications from Instagram that you guys are posting. And so let's talk a little bit about your social media presence, because I think you have a really large community that you offer Facebook and Instagram, and even your TikToks are fantastic. So would you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, we are a very social media company. The reason why is because we've learned that our product is really word of mouth. It's women telling another woman, telling another menstruator about the cup and how it's changed their lives. And so we really play into that. Our hashtag is Pass the Salt. We think that was really brilliant. It came up with one of our focus group members came up with that. And we said, oh, we love that. And it is because you're passing a good thing on to a friend. So we're also 80% mobile. So we've realized that our traffic is 80% mobile, which is why we rely on social media.
It's great. Your Facebook community is such a wonderful place for information. I'm constantly reading the post in there just because it's the way that the women passionately hop on to answer the other women's questions about it, the first timers or anything, the support that is given within that community is really great. What is the name of the group? Did you mind sharing?
Yeah, it's the SAALT Cup Academy. And let me know if I go in and out. Hopefully you can hear me, but it's our SAALT Cup Academy. We have 25,000 users there and growing. And you're right. It is like an extension of our customer service team. We found that out early on, and we just thought it was this magical thing that once you became a cup user, you wanted to support other cup users in that journey, because it is a big step in behavior change. Behavior change is hard to do, and asking someone to change their period care to something that's reusable and new is a big step. And I love how supportive the community is. You can ask anything in that Facebook group. There's no TMI. All questions have been asked. Wow, I'm thinking of so many funny ones that have come up. Like when we had one that said, every time I put this cup in, I'm getting a really nice going on. And they're like, wow, what's the problem?
Okay. All right.
That was a new one. So it's just a wonderful community. And like you said, when you become a cup user, you really are joining this community of people who are more aware of their bodies, who want to do good for the planet, do good for themselves, and they want to pass on that good information. So
yeah, we have like a saying, I guess, that we take to heart really, really a lot, I guess. And it's empowered women empower women. And we really, really believe that. And I think that that's kind of what your community that you've done specifically on Facebook, but really everywhere, that's what you're doing. You're helping empower these women who are therefore turning around and empowering other women. And it's just incredible.
Yeah. And I have to, you kind of touched on your customer service a little bit when you were explaining it's an extension of your customer service, but I have to say your customer service is on point. When you look in the threads, how amazing your customer service is within the questions. And if there's any, defective products happen, I mean, you can't, everything, is not always going to work the way somebody thought it was going to work or whatever. And the way that you guys always reply to each and every concern is so amazing. So I just want to say well done with that, because your team is phenomenal.
Well, I appreciate that. It is something that we put a lot of deliberate effort in, because we feel like we want to treat our customers like our friends, and as we would our friends who we want to have switch over to a sustainable period product. So we do treat every single customer interaction as best as we can. And we like to create those moments of delight where we are really just answering those needs and also delighting our customers in every way that we can. So it's something we focus on deliberately. Can you guys still hear me? Am I?
Yep.
You're
Yep.
good.
Okay, good.
You're good.
You know, another thing we do is we do have amazing team buy-in. I love the t-shirt that you mentioned, Empowered Women, Empower Women.
Mhm.
And as a female founder, we really try to extend that to our workplace. So one thing we do is we have a free in-office preschool for all of our working parents. This was a need I was trying to solve for myself as a mother of a toddler. And now our marketing manager has her toddler, you know, and our digital ad manager, she has her toddler in our preschool. You know, our supply chain manager is a father to a toddler that he has in his preschool. And all of them feel empowered that we are taking a pro-family culture, supporting families and supporting our employees beyond just, you know, revenues and a salary. We just feel like it goes so much further than that. We also offer like unlimited PTO because we don't feel like people should be required to have to tell you, oh, I have a doctor's appointment for you know, my daughter. And especially during this COVID situation with all of the virtual schooling, I mean, it's just very flexible. Obviously, you can work from home, you can work from the office. We are definitely at home for quite a bit of the pandemic. We're just getting back to the office more, but we had a dedicated work from home day before the pandemic. And then, you know, like I said, no questions asked. Like, we just feel like if you're doing your work and are able to provide that value, then take care of your family. Like, that's not something that we're gonna, you know, impose on our employees. So
That is so amazing. As someone who worked a 9-to-5 job with very small children, childcare was always such a stressor. And so to be able to take that off their plates, it only makes sense. They're going to be more productive. They know that their child is safe. What a great work environment you are providing for these families.
You guys are innovators everywhere. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I am just blown away.
Yeah, me too.
So
yeah, we just feel like we're trying to solve the needs of women, and solving the needs of women and, you know, parents. It's not always a clean process. It's a messy process. Periods can be messy, right? But if you're not looking at those problems and looking at real solutions, then what are we here for? I mean, we got to be addressing them on a straightforward level.
So if someone wants to support your company, they want to go out and buy one of these products, they want to gift a product because they're just so excited about it, where can we purchase your products? You have a beautiful, beautiful website. Mm-hmm. Check out their website. But are your products in store anywhere, or do you ship internationally? Because we do have a couple international listeners. So where can we find your products?
Yeah, so you can find it on our website at SAALT.com. We're also in Target stores nationwide. Our cups are. Right now, our underwear is only on our website, but hopefully that's changing. We're trying to get to a lot of retailers. You can also find our cups in REI and Revolve. They're going on shelves at Urban Outfitters for the first time, which is super exciting.
That's amazing.
Whole Foods. Trying to remember all of them. Free People. There's a lot of different boutique shops that we're in. And then, yeah, we do ship internationally. You can get us on Amazon as well, and Amazon UK and EU and so forth, and Australia. But then we ship from our website internationally. So all of the places.
Wow. Cherie, thank you so much for giving your time today. I don't want to take up any more of it, but do you guys have any last questions? Anything else you want to say, Amanda or Danielle?
No, that's your cue and your way of telling me stop talking forever, Amanda, because she knows I could talk about my love for these products for hours and hours. So no.
I just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate all of your hard work and everything that you've been doing for the community and just women in general.
Yeah, and the fact that you would come to this little old podcast,
Right.
We can't thank you enough. And we hope that we did you justice here today, and we just can't wait to share this and your products with our friends and family.
And we always
conversation. It was so lovely and so great to meet you, Bridgette and Amanda and Danielle. I love what you were doing for your community. You've been such ambassadors to SAALT. I mean, that's just something I'll support any day. So super grateful to be on and be able to share our story. So thank you for making this space.
Anytime. And Bridgette always wraps us up with a be something. So Bridgette, what are we being this week?
Oh, let's just be comfortable. And be comfortable in talking about your body, exploring your body. Be comfortable when you're on your period, talking about that, and then be comfortable while you're on your period with these awesome, awesome products.
Love that.
Absolutely. And if you haven't tried them, give it a try. Your life will change. They're truly life changing. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today. It's such an honor. It means such an honor for this podcast. So we appreciate it so much. So until next week, we will all see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again so much. Bye.
Bye.